Oración para los viajeros. Esta es una oración por la misericordia, para que andes con pie firme y visión clara, por el pan para tu cuerpo y tu espíritu, por el agua, para que llegues seguro y para todos aquellos que encuentres en el camino. Remember when we began this pilgrimage together? Like all pilgrims, we started the journey excited to see where the path would lead. Buoyed by the expectancy of finding something priceless along the way, we barely noticed the difficulties at first. But like all pilgrimages, this one has inevitably become strenuous. Some days we wish we were already at the end. On days when the path is rocky, winding, and steep, we wish we'd never started. Midway through our journey together, let's remember the words of Angela Herrera's Prayer for Travelers. This is a prayer for traveling mercies and sure-footedness, for clear vision, for bread for your body and spirit, for water, for your safe arrival, and for everyone you see along the way.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. We begin with ringing our peace bowl for love. We also ring our peace bowl for hope of peace on earth and for the peace that we have all felt in our hearts at different times, not all the time, which is, I think, why it brings us such joy when we do. We acknowledge that these lands, now so beautifully covered in a layer of snow, that these lands that we love are the lands of the Yavapai people, the Wipukepas, the Tokepayas, the Cuevkepayas, and the Yavapai. We give thanks for this snow that is nourishing the earth and encouraging rather than smashing the daffodils. We also today ring the peace bowl to affirm that we are not alone, that we are connected with Unitarian Universalists in the West, with whom we will be worshiping today, and to Unitarian Universalists all over the world. We are a bold faith, and you will hear voices of courage today, voices that challenge injustice and call us to action. In our own community, Patrick and Leslie Grady, new members since last year around this time, are using their courageous voices in this place. And for that, we give thanks. We will now listen to Patrick Grady as we begin our service.
I'm Patrick Grady. My wife Leslie and I moved to Prescott in 2017. We joined Granite Peak UU in early 2020. We were looking for a faith community that truly lived out its values. GPU has long had that reputation in the community of being an activist congregation committed to justice, and it still does. I've been involved in GPU largely in local climate work through the Green Sanctuary team, now in transition, of course, due to COVID-19. We worked with the board as it passed a climate emergency declaration last year. And right around this time last year, we actually held one of the last in-person events in our sanctuary, collaborating with the Northern Arizona Climate Change Alliance on keeping the earth in our hearts. I also participate, representing Granite Peak UU, as a team leader on an interfaith group known as the Prescott Interfaith Climate Action Team. The current stewardship campaign is so important because community is important. While COVID-19 has impacted our ability to get together in person, GPUU, from its pastoral team to its lay leaders, has done an outstanding job in keeping us in community with one another through multiple programming outreach efforts. Moreover, the campaign will financially support the position of a social justice coordinator. That position and person has been and will be a connector to a broad range of justice work in our community. As it keeps us connected, the coordinator also reinforces GPU's leadership role in the broader Prescott community. So I encourage you to support the stewardship campaign, joining together to share our gifts. As together, we strive to build a beloved community. Thank you, be safe, and be well.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. And let us all remember that the date, March 6th, our congregational dinner conducted on Zoom, but food will be provided at Granite Peak's expense that you will order from restaurants around the Quad City area. All the details are in our order of service. Now, as we begin, let us say our covenant. As Unitarian Universalist congregations all over the world say theirs, these are words not given to us by the Unitarian Universalist Association. They are words that this congregation grappled with and chose as right for us to say together. Let us say the covenant together. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, the quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, thus do we covenant together. Throughout this meeting, if you would like to give to our community, please do so through the link in our chat and designate whether it's going to Seeds of Support, which is the Hungry Kids Project that is serving so many children in need throughout our area, or as a pledge for our general expenses. And now I invite you to enter into an adventure, a service that is being watched all over the Unitarian Universalist congregations of the West. Those congregations, too, have been struggling with the pandemic and with all that is happening in this world. Let us join with them and hear this great variety of voices that is who we are. Let us begin.
Love once, the fullest unfolding of every person. Love wants everyone to be free, to feel safe, to know joy. To me, love is an overflowing and unconditional love for the world and for creation and for one another. That spiritual foundation of love calls us to the policies and the practices that we need to sustain and nurture life, thriving life.
Love means thinking about how we enact policies that make people's lives better. If we're talking about racial justice, love is acknowledging that there has been wrong, that there has been harm, and that whether you participated in it or not, you're benefiting from the inequitable results of that harm.
What if love means letting go of what we think we know and being curious about what more there is to learn?
What if love was not a commodity that could be bought and sold?
Sometimes love isn't waiting for the other to come to us so that we can become agents of welcome, but rather us moving into the world to engage with others in their spaces, on their terms.
Love asks for the release of all assumptions about who wants to be part of Unitarian Universalism. Love asserts that each of us matters and is worthy. Love knows our life-saving, life-giving faith must be available to every person who needs it.
If you have a chalice at home, would you please light it in honor and in celebration of overflowing and liberating love.
So now together, let us pause for a moment and breathe together, and I'm going to ring our bowl. Let us take a deep breath and think of our feet on this earth. And let us consider these connections that are growing with our greater community, our greater Unitarian Universalist community. And let us also consider all that is happening within this group, within our community, within the we of who we are. We hold Taya Park, who is recovering well from pneumonia, and for the power of the love and friendships that are holding her. Let us hold Dick Fox, who wrote to me yesterday saying that he is feeling peaceful. And let us hold Eunice Lovejoy, who is surrounded by the love of her sons, and Janer Eldridge, who has marvelous Peter and Joe to be with, and also wonderful hospice workers. And let us hold Karen Anderson as she continues to be in that process of healing from that great and awful accident. We can celebrate that Eric Jarnigan is now back at work, and Karen Doyle, who is grieving the loss of her husband, is doing better. She's now settled in Las Fuentes, and they're wondering how things will continue. I also ask you, especially today, to hold Peter Eldridge. And I have a specific time for him this Tuesday at 12:30. He's going to be undergoing what is probably the last of his eye surgeries. Let us think of him at that time, take another deep breath, and send to him and Joe that our love and our thoughts and prayers. Today we celebrate love that has taken us through difficult times and has brought us those memories that warm us, or those people who sit by our side. I lift up to what is on a puzzle that Mary Steenhook and her son, who is doing better this week, both of them are doing better, that is a puzzle that has on it, "Dog is love." And some of you might have a puzzle, "Cat is love." But let us give thanks to those beings who bring us such joy. And let us hold this world, all those who are mourning loved ones who have died from COVID and all of those other ways that we humans die, and those who are suffering the after effects. Let us hold all of the immigrant families who are in need of food. May they find their way to our doors, as a family did yesterday, and who went to our new little library and very happily brought books home with them. And let us learn how to make that pantry we have obsolete. Let us do the work of justice in this place, as we are being called to do by Unitarian Universalism. And after I ring the bell, I invite you to say the names of those who are on your hearts and minds. And then we will take a few moments of silence together, after which we will return to the service. James, Meowlin, Glenda, and I noticed that Dick Fox is entering our waiting room and is going to be with us. And one thing I would invite you to do in this time of COVID, if you are a card writer, send cards to all those names that we talk about in our service. And all those who are within the reach of the love that you have and that radar that makes you think, oh, I think that person could use a card. Listen, listen, and send those messages. Love to you all. And now let us return to the service. So before we extinguish our chalice and move into breakout rooms, I just wanted to let you know that the prayer I wrote and gave last week in the sermon, a prayer of new beginning at our square, is going to be said at our square to a small group because only 10 people are allowed to gather at a time there. So I want you at 1 o'clock, if you're in the mood, to just be thinking of this small group gathered and send your good energy for a new beginning to change that feeling that has come, that many of us have felt about the square, that it wasn't a place of belonging, so that together we do that alchemy to make it a place of belonging for all. And now we're going to extinguish our chalice together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And if you wait just for a moment, we will be going to breakout rooms. If you would like to talk with me, I will be here for a while before I go down to the square. And I promise I'm going to get that email going about the flag. Lots of things came up this week, as does every week. But I will be sending you an email. If you wonder why you haven't had it, it wasn't your email problem. So you will be getting one.